All right. So if you guys are open to it, then I think we'll just do what we did the last time and we'll jump into engagement unless anybody has something really important that they need to share up front before we get started. Okay. Well, let's see what Father has for us today. Father, we just engage with you. We shift our focus to where we are with you right now. And we want to submit our hearts, our lives, our minds, everything to you and ask, what do you have for this group today? And as we all just begin to shift our hearts and minds into that direction, that you would begin to show us what you have.
So my first thoughts are, I was reconnecting with the tree of life, which was really from the transformations with the Dina's group this morning, which is how we connected. And in that place, it transitioned. I thought of Chris Carter, and then instantly it was the silver tree with the gold leaves. And I just felt like I wanted to engage with provision. That to me represented provision for you and Adina, Gail, and for the ministry. So I just wanted to release that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
And provision is not just financial, okay? Provision for all of us, provision for every aspect of anything that we are moving toward and sitting in or walking through or out of.
I heard the Lord say when I asked him, I'm so glad you asked because I want this group to be very interactive with each other and with us three in our love circle, which of course includes all of you.
So I've been just in 2 Peter 1 this whole past week. And in the Passion Translation from verse 5, It says, so devote yourselves to lavishly supplementing your faith with goodness, and to goodness add understanding, and to understanding add the strength of self-control, and to self-control add patient endurance, and to patient endurance add godliness, and to godliness add mercy toward your brothers and sisters, and to mercy towards others add unending love.
Mm. Mm.
And it's just been it's just been percolating in me that yes, we enter into Father's presence, and we immersed in that presence, and that presence changes us. Yet there are things we need to add.
Mm. Mm.
There are things where we need to, in a sense, apply ourselves. He says it is also possible to view this passage as a mathematical equation.
Mhm.
Faith plus goodness is understanding. Goodness plus understanding is inner strength. Understanding plus inner strength is patience. Inner strength plus patience is godliness. Patience plus godliness is mercy, and godliness plus mercy is love.
Mm. Hmm. That's beautiful. Mhm. Hmm.
Before I got the knock on the door and went out, I heard level playing field. Don't know what it means.
Hmm. Hmm.
We are all equal. We're all made in the same image and likeness of God. So I believe that's the level playing field. I made you to be one body, and every part of the body is equally important.
Mhm. Father, how do we become even more perfected in your love? What are some of the keys that you would have for us today? I like that formula, Marilee, that you posted that. In the group.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, unfortunately, oh, there it is. Okay. Almost think it's worth meditating on that. Faith plus goodness equals understanding. Goodness plus understanding equals inner strength. Understanding plus inner strength equals patience. Inner strength plus patience equals godliness. Patience plus godliness equals mercy. And godliness plus mercy equals love.
Is that written in the Passion, or is that something that you just came up with, Marilyn?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you, John.
Is that written in the Passion book that way, or is that something that you just came up with?
It's in the Passion Study Bible, so it's those are footnotes, but it's in the I've posted it in the app, John.
Yeah, I saw it, but I was just trying to write it down so I could think about it. I'm not as fast a writer as everybody else. Faith plus goodness equals understanding.
Well, I'm curious which of any of these words jumps out to anybody. I would be curious if Father's wanting us to maybe focus on any specific part of this. Again, unless Father's showing you something else. If he's showing you something else, let's hear it. Liz was on here earlier. Looks like we don't have her on anymore. And good to see you, Hadassah. I think I said hello to Susan. We've lost Diane. She's probably in a no signal zone. Hopefully she'll be back on with us as she's driving.
And you keep losing me because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
3 people just came who work for the neighborhood who are mowing my lawn and cutting weeds, so that's a blessing.
Well, interesting. I'm curious. I'm just going to throw this out there because I'm good with hanging in here and pushing through. But I'm curious if we've all got like distractions right now. I guess the question is, do we pursue and move forward? Is this learning to love better by pursuing and moving forward, or is it a time where maybe we should say, let's give it a break and we'll come back next week?
No,
No.
God. Ah,
Okay.
break.
I just wanted to throw it out there.
Gil, are you wanting a break?
No, I don't want to break. In fact, I personally think it's better to push through, because I'll be honest right now, like all day today, even started this morning. And I think Father's just now starting to kind of show me why, but I've not been able to connect. I keep, I had an hour and a half this morning sitting with Father, and I couldn't connect. I couldn't see anything in the spirit. And went to the gym. I usually engage driving there and driving back, and sitting here. It's like I feel more blocked right now in this moment than I think I ever have. And so, yeah, probably better to push through, I would think.
I would think so.
But I'm not getting
I had this-
anything.
I had the same experience today, Gil,
Yeah.
just really, really battling to engage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think what Father's shown me is stress level. Just got a lot of things, and it's not stress as in frantic stress. It's just a lot of things on my mind, and it's cluttering up my mind. And I've been trying to rest, and I've been doing my breathing exercises. I've been doing it all, and not a lot of breakthrough at the moment. So go ahead, John.
I was just thinking, since Merrily brought up all these plus 1 + 2 = 3, I was wondering if we could have a discussion on how does faith plus goodness equal understanding? How do you get understanding out of faith and goodness?
And those were
And end
questions
up-
that I was thinking about,
then-
but I couldn't even
and then-
formulate them.
Eventually it comes to love. So take Martha's distraction, where somebody is coming to show some goodness to her. Did she exercise her faith somehow to attract that goodness, to get understanding that somebody really actually cares about her? Is that how it works? Like,
I think it's good.
that's a
Worth a
thought. That's the
discussion.
thought I had when she mentioned her distraction, that was a blessing. Well, it wasn't really a distraction. It was just a blessing that was part of the group interaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think with distractions, it comes to understanding at the strength of self-control. To just keep on bringing your attention back
Mhm.
to what the focus is.
Yeah. So I will say that from times like this where, I've not struggled quite this bad that I can recall. There's been times where I've not been able to connect, but yet at the same time, in the past, I would have been frantic. I would have been like, oh no, what did I do wrong? Why is God not speaking to me? Why is he not, I don't have any of that anymore. For me, it's just, this is what is at the moment. And perhaps it doesn't even mean that it is being used by God, but perhaps it is God allowing or showing this to me in order to reveal something to me. So, I'm just looking for those, but it doesn't have to be that either. It can just be a season. One that I don't like, but it can be a season.
Join the club, Gil. Seasons I don't like. Seriously? Yeah, I
Yeah,
have seasons I don't like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So what do we do with seasons we don't like?
Well, that's an interesting topic.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't have any choice. Like, we don't have any choice as to, now it's summer and a hot one. So how do we deal with that? We have to adjust and
Yeah.
go with the flow. And
Yeah.
if the Father shows us something how to change that, then we can work with him on that.
Yeah, so it's kind of where I'm at in my book right now is the let go and flow part, and it is definitely true. Now, the one thing that I always point out is we do always have choice in how we respond to things. We don't always have choice. Like John, you were just sharing, it's like I can't necessarily change the season, the season being summer, winter, fall, whatever it might be, or a dry season of just for whatever reason not being able to connect. I may not be able to change that, but I do get to choose how I respond to it. And so that's where I get to grow right now, is how do I respond in this season? And for me, the season, it is nothing but a season. Nothing but a season. And the question is also, is there something I can learn from this? Is there something that Father is trying to teach me through it? And that comes back down to faith. Do I have the faith to go through something where, especially this season, where I not really able to connect and engage like I normally do? Do I have faith, as Jesus did going to the cross, where he felt, that, he could not feel the Father's presence going to the cross? So that's simply, to me, a test of our faith. And Jesus, I don't believe, faltered 1 ounce, and neither do we need to falter in any way, shape, or form, but just that we move forward knowing that he's with us. I may not be able to engage with him right now, but I know he's with me. I have no doubt of that. None whatsoever.
Well, Gil, just off the top of my head, I would say, oh, now Gil gets a taste of what it's like almost all the time for Martha, who doesn't know how to engage.
So that's a good point. It's like, all right, so and since you've been dealing with this longer, I'd be curious if you have specific things you do or think or tell yourself during that time when you're not able to engage. Do you
Well,
have anything?
so my times with Pamela Tidmore, right? She's taught me to say, family, may I be aware of your presence. And I think I shared it on this group, even how there was one time, I think in the morning before coming on this group, so much happens within 24 hours in my life that it's hard to remember a lot of specific details, although I guess I do remember a lot of specific details because I often share them. But anyway, how do I become aware of God's presence? Okay, here's a thought. When I go, family, may I be aware of your presence, and I don't feel anything. Maybe, I don't know, it's amazing that you have been able to, have all your times where you go in and you feel it. But I'm more like it comes at times where I don't know, like maybe part of the lesson is that we can't make it happen. I don't know. Does that sound like something that could be part of it? Like that it doesn't happen when we say, now I want it, but it sneaks up on you when you're maybe not even, I don't know.
Well, I think that can be part of it, that there are times, I'm obviously in a time right now where I'm not able to make it happen. So I guess what I'm looking for, I'll say this, what I've been looking for all day is there a key? Is there something that I can do differently that would unlock the ability? Because I know a good part of it is in the imagination. And I've tried to use my imagination to engage something that I know is there. And it's like, okay, so this is what I did get this morning. I couldn't really engage with Father a lot, but I managed to see us sitting in two sofa chairs next to one another, just hanging out. And in fact, this is interesting. I'm remembering this. In fact, Father had like a newspaper, and he's just sitting there with his legs crossed with a newspaper sitting next to me. And just that alone. And the message for me was really clear, is like, I'm here whenever you need me. Even though I wasn't able to really connect and say anything, he was there. And that's about all I've got all day today. Even sitting here with you guys right now, I've not, it's like there's a big wall. And coming back, driving back, I got a little frustrated. Like, all right, Jesus, well, let's go to the courts. There's something blocking. And we dealt. It was interesting. It was like there was somebody who had made an agreement, a big, pretty heavy, nasty agreement about breakthrough and about some things that were opposing me, and so dethroned that. And so now I'm like, okay, well, let's move on, but I'm still not able to engage. So it's like, all right, there's more work to be done. So it's actually good. It's the triggers that show us and open us up to go deeper and to get down to more stuff. So it may be time for me to start going deeper again. I did 1.5 years of that and haven't done a lot, since then, not like that anyway. Marilee?
I also think when we feel as we don't connect and we can't engage, as if that seeking in itself, that longing in itself, it's growing our roots.
Yeah.
It's like roots looking for the water.
Yeah.
And if it's readily available, then the roots don't grow deeper. So, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So that's an excellent way to look at things too, when we're struggling like this. It's just like, I'm going to grow more. I will grow more through this. I know that. Thank you, Marilee. John and then Diane.
That was very good. I keep thinking about Moses when he went up on the mountain, when God called him up to the mountain. And God didn't show up for how many days? Was it 40 days? He was up there for 40 days. And most of that time, I think, was spent waiting. So Moses, I believe, had an understanding that what God said he meant. And he believed that God was going to show up. And God did, of course.
Yeah.
So it all starts with believing that God is a God of his word, and that what he says he will do. So waiting is part of the game.
It is. Well, that's one of the things here, right? Understanding plus inner strength equals patience.
Like, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength.
And inner strength plus patience equals godliness.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm going to have to go through this and really think through it, because there's some of them I'm like, all right, how does that work? Faith plus goodness equals understanding. I'm not putting that together yet, but it'll be a good faith exercise with Father. Diane, go ahead.
I'm still trying to figure out how to use this phone, guys. I'm sorry. I can't see all of your faces while I push the button to speak. So I had a call. I apologize. So I may be missing parts, but Gil, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm thinking about how I did have a season where I studied the mystics, and a lot of them describe this season where the Lord, after captivating them into this intimate relationship, the lifting of his manifest presence for the very thing you're describing, for the very thing Marilee describes, the roots going down deep, the deeper well. And for me personally, I'm still learning how to do relationship with Father, because of that, my history, even though cognitively I can mentally go, okay, I can do an exercise with Father, but I'm still learning how to do that. But the other aspect of what I wanted to say is, even as you saw him this morning in his easy chair reading this paper, that's very familial. That is
Yeah.
sonship. That is,
Yeah.
that is, for me, affirmation that you are a maturing son. You know, when children are tiny, they need constant supervision and attention. But as they mature, there's growth and trust and relationship and a capacity in the child to become self-reliant. And you know, I mean that in the context of the conversation, not independent from the family or father. But I just feel like that to me is confirmation that the season, the father is confirming you are a maturing son and you are a mature son, and he is grafting you and taking you deeper. And that's not to negate possibly there's other areas. Talk to your wife. Maybe there's parts of your heart that are still needing wholeness, whatever. But I just see and sense this comfort of identity and sonship. And father, you know, it's like a different, almost like you know how water, they'll redirect water by dredging areas to try to redirect. It's almost like that's what I sense, this redirecting of this depth, and the father's dredging some new areas, for lack of a better way to describe this. There's this new area that he's breaking water into to cause another flow. And water always finds the lowest source, right? The lowest point, whatever all of that means. I don't know, but he's taking you deep.
Yeah. It's good. Good. Thank you. Well, Susan and Kamal, we haven't heard from you or Hadassah yet.
For me, it's been quite a dry season as well, so I'm just hearing and taking everything on board. Yeah, I'm finding it hard at times to really connect. And I was even just thinking about that today, like why? So it seems like, yeah, God's answering, helping with that area.
I kind of think Marilee nailed it. That's where I would probably go with things, is just knowing that, again, our Father is a good Father. He's not doing anything of this nature in order to torture us or anything like that. But he lets us go through seasons, or he may even put us through seasons in order to strengthen us and have our love grow deeper. And so even when you feel like you're coming to the very edge of what you can handle, and that you're just at the end of your rope, so to speak, that we would hopefully be able to remind ourselves that, even the Bible says there's nothing he will not allow more than we can handle. So, for us to just hold on to that promise. And again, for me, the let go and flow is a great philosophy, because then I can let go, because obviously if I'm struggling and I'm fighting against something, in other words, I've come to the end of my rope, that end of my rope is indicating that there's some expectation that I've had, and it's not being fulfilled the way I think it should be fulfilled. And for me to come to the place where I can let go of that expectation, sometimes it's hard to figure out what that expectation is, but it may be worth the time to figure out, why am I getting so disappointed and frustrated in this season, that I could figure that out and then be able to let that go to the Father. And I'll just use our current situation. It's very disheartening and frustrating for me to see the finances of the ministry go as well as they are. We can't even help. We've been helping Uganda, Pastor Isaac, for almost 2 years now. This will be the first month we can't send them anything. And it's also the first month that his rent is due. They pay 3 months at a time. And he's probably going to have to move. And he doesn't have any place to move to. And I'm just like, all right, Father, what's hurting me is hurting others as well. And so I have to stop and just look at things and realize Father's not a bad Father. He is a good Father. He has everyone's best in mind. Everyone's best may not look like what I think it should look like. Perhaps Pastor Isaac needs to move or whatever. I don't know what all's going on there, but Father can handle that as well as he can handle our situation. And that is the bottom line, and that is the truth. So me thinking I need to have all this money so I can be helping everybody, and I'm kind of at the end of my rope, financially, for being able to do that. Well, then I got to let that go. Like, okay, I don't need those finances. I really don't. I don't need them. I want them. And I expect them and think that they should come in so I can help everybody else. You know what? God's helping everybody else. And he's going to help them in the way that they need help. And they need to kind of come to the same place of trusting him no matter what. And so it is harder for me because I feel like I've got this responsibility to others. And it's like when I have no choice, if the money's not there, the money's not there. So there's an area where I have no choice. Now I have to choose how I'm going to respond in that situation. I could get angry and frustrated, which I battle with, or I can let it go. I can let it go and just trust that Father has this, and I can flow with what he's doing. It's like, okay, so we're going through a dry season financially as well, and we're not going to be able to help others as we would like to. That really messes with my heart. That's another area where I've got to reevaluate what my expectations are and what am I placing on myself that evidently Father's not placing there. Otherwise, I believe if he were placing that there, he would give the funds necessary to do that, or whatever the case may be. But so then there's a lot of processing going on. That's part of the reason I think I'm having trouble engaging, because I've got a lot of processing going on and trying to make sure that I'm responding in love so that I can grow in this process, even though it's not a comfortable one. It's not one that I'm like, yeehaw, bring it on. No, please don't. But go ahead, John.
Can I share an example? Right now, we've been asked to basically turn off our lawn water system. But because of experience, I know my lawn isn't going to die, because we've had to do it for a whole summer before. And whenever the water comes back, it springs to life.
Mm-hmm.
So for my personal self, when I go through dry season and when I don't feel like I'm connecting, but I actually am connecting,
yeah,
the driest times, I have that deep confidence in my spirit that God is faithful.
Yeah.
And he hasn't left me, even though I don't sense his presence. I don't have to feel his presence all the time. In fact, if I did, I might not be very useful in my household or in the neighborhood or with people I meet. But everybody has those times, and most people in the world don't sense his presence.
Yeah.
But he's still there. He's still there with them, whether they believe it or not.
Right.
But once we turn on that belief switch, then we start sensing more of his presence, which encourages our confidence to go deeper as we go through these times of not knowing in our physical body that we don't feel, we always want to feel that presence. But I think it's probably more important to know that he never ever leaves you or forsakes you, and he's always there no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter if everybody turns off the water and it looks like the lawn is dead, there's a time coming when it's going to be green again.
Amen.
Same for each one of us.
Yeah.
I have an example of a difference you're making, Gil. Last night on the talk about angels, he shared about the guy who was praying in tongues in the mall. And then the angel thanked him for praying in tongues in the mall. So that inspired me last night, just before 10 in the evening, to walk around my block praying in tongues.
Good, good, good. Yeah, yeah. That's yeah. Thank you, Hadassah.
Let me share. Can you hear me? Let me share. Yeah, it's so funny, Martha. I was thinking about saying something about tongues when I think, Gil, you were asking how do we engage when you feel that we're not able to engage. Now I'm thinking to myself, how do I do that? And lately, for me, I've been speaking in tongues for years, but for some reason, I just don't have a habit of praying in tongues. You know, I just pray here and there, but lately, I would say for the last maybe month, I feel that Holy Spirit has been really reminding me. It's like pray in tongues more. And I hear these teachings, you know, from different people. I go, yeah, that's true. They're praying in tongues. They wake up and they pray in tongues. So I'm getting like a revival. I don't know how to call it. I'm getting a revival and speaking in tongues now. So for the last, maybe even last couple of weeks, I've been really focusing in praying in tongues. So when you ask, you know, how, well, the way it's been working for me lately is by doing that, just speaking in tongues. Yeah, and I remember him saying that too. And I watched the interview, you know, of what is his name? You know, he was so good. Doug, Doug something, right? Yeah. And I'm thinking, yeah, speaking in tongues. So that's how some of us can do it. You know, we don't feel connected. And the other word that, I mean, that's how would be working for me really well. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's like, you know, we have all these things, you know, that God shows us sometimes, and we don't use them. I mean, that's what's been speaking to me.
Good point.
Regarding tongues, all this revelation is like, what are we doing with all this revelation, and we're not practically using it anyway? So, but the other question I had when you were speaking, especially you, Gail, you were sharing, oh, I don't feel like I'm connecting, you know, but I saw Jesus or Father sitting in the chair, reading a newspaper. And then I went to course and I went to the course and I took care of this and that and the other. Thinking, isn't that connecting? Can you define connecting then? I mean, it's like, wow, you are connecting. I mean, it's like wow, hold on. It's like, hold on. Let's stop here. Let's define connecting. Because to me, that's connecting. And if you were asking somebody else that doesn't know how to ascend or how to go to the course of heaven or whatever, you know, that don't even believe in gifts, but they're Christian and they love Jesus, you know, you ask you, how do you connect? They will say, I don't know. But if they hear you say, well, I went to the course and I saw Jesus, well, to them, I would think that they would say that's connecting, big time connecting. So just a couple of thoughts regarding your conversations. And for me this morning it was interesting. You were saying, should we continue? Should we press in? And that was exactly the same question I had today, because I had a really hectic morning. You know, for me, it was just a physical issues. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I just gotta get rid of this and that and the other, and I'm speaking in tongues, you know, but so I came home. I came home and then I went to bed and thinking, gosh, it's only, for me, it's 10 o'clock here in California. I want to take a nap for a little while before I get on the Zoom because I feel exhausted. I'm thinking it's only 10 o'clock in the morning, but I did. And I rested really well and I was able to go on. But I'm even thinking I might even have to miss it because but I feel good. I mean, I was fine after I took like a 40-minute nap. But yeah, it's been an interesting morning. Then I can see from a lot of us here, so I don't know what's going on. That's all I wanted to share.
Well, that is so good. And you know what? I appreciate all of you saying, let's move forward, let's press on, even though portion of us probably, if we just went with our, I'm just going to say it, if we went with our wimpiness, we would bail out. But to be strong and determined because this is, to me, where we're really going to push through some of this, finding the mysteries and the keys, where we go ahead and push through when none of us feel like it, or very few of us feel like it, but we just push through. And Hadassah, I appreciate you for revealing my expectations, because that's exactly what's going on. Is like, yeah, I'm saying I'm not connecting in the way I would like to connect, which is an expectation. And it, and it has been a long while that I've connected intimately, where that feeling of intimacy comes in. It's been a long time since I've connected that way. It's probably been like a year since I've connected that way. But
Love
I
never
love
fails.
what John and Marilee both have spoken and shared on, and that is just you carry on. You carry on because you know that you know that you know. And that's the beauty of what I think this movement has done, is it's really been able to reteach our core, the core of who we are, that God is there. He loves you unconditionally. He never leaves you. And you can count on that, no matter how you feel. Well, Kamal, well, go, Diane, you got your hand up. Go ahead, Diane, and then Kamal.
I'm learning. Hi guys. I'm so sorry. Let's try this.
There you go.
Thank you. I say yes to everything everyone said. Amazing. And I was also thinking, and didn't say earlier, how often for me worship, but I'm a worshiper, and I'll go weeks and weeks without, putting on worship music and singing, vocalizing. And so whatever it is that, connects how God wired us to connect, that's essential. But I was thinking about, and I can't remember right now, you guys will fill in the blanks. I want to say it's Brother Andrew, but I don't think it's the guy, the monk from however long ago, the practice of Brother Lawrence. Thank you. I always get those two confused. But the practice of his presence, it was an intentional internal conversation on his part, where he practiced. And then he said, you tricked me. Here I thought I was doing this because I was so bad. And then you showed up, and you showed up in your love, and you showed up in your beauty. And now I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm hooked. And I'm totally paraphrasing everything. But isn't that what faith is? And as a caveat on the flip side of that, Gil, with that let go and flow, which I totally agree. I also feel like there's a part, because of my own history of being, trying to be good. I'm more like Adina, good girl, strong girl, and behaving correctly so you'll love me, whoever that happened to be as a child. I learned early to wait on people and just serve, and to, even as a little girl, I would go get coffee for my parents so they would, be pleased with me, kind of thing. I mean, like 8 years old, and I was already a waitress. But the point being, I also want to, as a two sides of the same coin, I want to speak to that part of your heart that needs, and maybe you don't need this reminder, but I think it's also appropriate to pour out how you feel in that letting go. I feel whatever. Okay.
I do that.
Because there is that, and maybe it's for my sake, there is that idea of passivity being attached to letting go. And it's not the same. It's kind of like the God of peace will soon crush Satan under your feet. Peace in the natural, in our minds, is absence of conflict, but that's not the case of the kingdom. It is a powerful, the shalom peace, which I read that definition last week. It is the authority to detach us from chaos. Anyway, I'm just
That's good.
processing out loud as I'm driving 80 miles an hour down the road and all this traffic. So lots of thoughts, and I can't
So
wait
good.
to hear what Kamau has to say. I just love
Yeah.
you guys, and I think all of this is so priceless, precious nuggets.
Yeah. Well, and you hit on something, because it is important, I think. And I've learned not to have any issue sharing my feelings with God. You know, when Chris Carter was passing, I went off on God. It was only about 5 minutes, but I went off on him, and I cussed at him a little bit. Makes me want to cry, not because I cussed at him, but just because I have that right, or I shouldn't say right. I have that permission from Father to
Right.
let my emotions go like that.
Be
When I
honest,
just,
be raw, and be real.
yeah. And so I did that for about 5 minutes. And then I'm like, okay. Whew, I got all that out. Now I can flow. Now I'm looking for the flow of what are you doing? Because a lot of it just didn't make sense. And so I had to let go of all these expectations that I had for what it should look like, what I wanted it to look like, and step into the flow of what he was doing. And and so I even did that this morning on the way home from the gym when I did the court session. I had a little other session with Father before I went into the court session. I don't have any problem with that. I am not religious at all. I am spiritual, and I'm engaged with my Father, who is alive and well and strong, and knows me, and knows that sometimes I'm still in a place where I got to let those emotions out and just be raw and be real. And then I can come back to center where I need to be, where I want to be. So good stuff.
Well,
Thanks.
isn't that I just think it's so essential for me, you know, even in this journey with all y'all and with transformations, is being able to communicate, let that part of my heart talk in spirit to spirit, even if they're past, to, you know, my parents, and verbalizing. It's like I've never verbalized how the choices they made, how they affected me, because I was supposed to be a good girl and forget, for instance. So, you know, that's why all of this is a nuance and learning how to take ownership of our heart. It's like be angry and sin not. It doesn't say never be angry. It says don't sin, don't go into the darkness, but giving our heart a voice, I guess, is really what's important in this process. So.
Yeah. Good stuff. Thanks, Dan. All right, Kamau, we haven't heard from you yet.
Yeah, thank you. And I think to me today I've had a very lengthy day, because in the morning I started in a session. Then after that session, someone tells me something. Another person comes in. We pray and engage with her. Then after some time during the day, I share something with my wife. I take the day just praying and meditating about it and going to the Father. So I enter into another just 30-minute session wanting to check something with the Father. So we step in. Some instructions the Father have given me. And then I concluded it with a number. I think I've had a number of calls today. And in all these, I was checking the way things should function and operate smoothly without, like maybe we are here and then you come and you're told, come out this and this and this. Then you hear someone telling you this and this. You wonder, what? I have not done anything wrong, or I'm just moving forward for the way things they need to do. But then I remember about 2 or 3 days I've been meditating, and I remember this coming when we usually have sessions or seasons that we are down, others we are up. And then I have been engaging this word that everything happens for good for those who trust and believe in him. And sometimes I use the scripture as a doorway to the spiritual reality and realms. And I felt myself moving from a place where circumstances is something good or bad, things like that happen in our lives or have happened in my life or around people, and then step into a place where I want to see the goodness of God in everything. So I'm pouring myself to telling God, I want to see the goodness in this, the goodness in this. And in such a praise, I felt my spirit in a praise of worshiping and giving thanks to God. So I believe maybe we are in, and when I hear maybe to what Julia's speaking and what we are sharing, there is ups and downs. We are expecting this. It's like when others, when she was speaking, that she's trying to speak in tongues and she can't. To me, I remember there are times that I could pray the whole night in a loud voice in tongues. People, they know these are ninjas, these are person who praise in tongues. If I want to speak the next sentence in tongues, I can. And I find myself, I'm not even able to do that. Then I remember the scripture that says, and because we're here speaking about love, this is what it says. Love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. This is where there will be revelations. The revelations will come to an end. Where there is tongues, the tongues, people will just, you say, there's a time I used to speak in tongues. Now I am not able to. I think is when we start to step into the realm of love, which never fails. And when we step deeper into love, and that's why you find that because of people when they start being mystics, you stop connecting with prophecies or prophetic ministry. What are you seeing about me? What are you hearing about me? It's because you start to operate in the realm of love. So I think when you step deeper into the realm of tongues, we stop maybe praying a lot or saying engaging a lot or seeking a lot of revelations or understanding, because the ultimate revelation is the love of God. The love of God to us, the love of God to one another, the love of God to the creation. That is the greatest knowledge of mystery that we do. And then if love is perfect, for we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when perfection comes, the imperfect disappears. So I think are tongues imperfect? Are revelations imperfect? I start come to ask myself such question. If these things are ceasing, that is to mean they're imperfect, and that's why they are passing away. If they are prophecies, so a prophecy is not perfect. It is passing away. Yeah. So, but when perfection comes, so that is to mean perfection is something that is not going to pass away. So the imperfect disappears. So I think when we pursue love, we are pursuing what is perfect. And when we pursue what is perfect, that is what is going to remain. The rest, they will cease. I think the rest were catalysts to lead us to what is perfect. And I believe maybe by God's grace, we are pursuing what is perfect, which is love. So, and I'm saying, is to me, the Lord, I think he's also reading me as I'm sharing this, is in all these issues that are coming around, do I engage for this? Do I go looking for this? Is that come to that place of love. Come to that place of love. And when we enter into that place of love, I think even when I'm speaking this, I'm just feeling a manifestation that I haven't felt for some long time of the presence of the Father. Yeah, so it's so tough. Yeah, that we go to what is perfect. And the perfection to me in this scripture is love. And when you feel maybe you're not feeling be able to do this, if you are not able to engage, you're not able to step in heaven, or to engage it through the way you're supposed to do, is for us to find that thread or that path of love. It's like I had a very tough issue that I needed to deal with, coming from a session, then something is disturbing me. And the Lord helped me to step into a place of love where I'm not condemning anyone or I'm not against anyone, but something to work in my life from a place of love, from place where things are operating in love. I can't say this. I don't know whether it's one of the pictures that I saw here when we started. Even me, I could not really flow, but those are the words that really came to me. Those things that just going around my mind. But I saw just a small glimpse of wings of an angel.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like being overshadowed, and you're speaking about who dwells in the presence of the Lord. So I believe in that place where his overshadowing presence is within us, as in accordance to Psalms 21. So with that, I know even though I'm feeling I'm all these chaotic sometimes, but I am rest assured I am in his pavilion. I'm under his pavilion in accordance to Psalms 91. So thank you.
So good. I love that. That was great, Kamal. Great. And I'm looking at the verses that you put up there, and yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah. It says the prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. I mean, these are more things. It's just like the stuff that Mary Lee, you put up, that formula. It's like, wow, I can take all of this and just sit with the Father and just meditate on this to understand and go deeper. What does it mean that knowledge will pass away? Because there is the tree of knowledge, which we tend to make it into the black and white, which that's how we use it, where love is on relationship. But I do not think love is void of knowledge, but maybe it's more understanding. We don't need knowledge when we have understanding. Just some interesting things. Go ahead, Mary Lee. Oh, you're muted.
In the beginning in the garden, there's the two trees, but in Revelation, there's only the one tree.
Hmm.
The tree of knowledge is gone.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Marilyn.
Very good, very good. Susan, you haven't shared a lot. I don't know if you want to you got anything else to add or say?
Not really, not especially. Yeah, I think it's easier definitely to sense God's presence when you're in that group, because I think you're kind of just feeding off everybody else's spirit. So it's definitely easier. And I think because my mind at the moment is so rushed with a lot of different processes, like you say, it's hard to connect like by myself, but I definitely feel like the presence of God more in group settings. And so that makes it easier.
Good. Has this been okay for you? What we've been sharing and talking about?
Yeah.
Encouraging, discouraging?
Yeah, it really encouraging. I think for me as well, coming into just gratitude and thankfulness to the Lord, always kind of easier to open a way into God's presence. Which I was just being reminded of while Kamal was sharing that, all these other things will like fade away. But as we just, behold who God is and be thankful and be grateful, then which, it's just giving our heart to the Lord and loving on him and being thankful, then then I can feel, yeah, God's presence more.
Good. One thing I know for a fact works in my life is generally if there's something I'm wishing I had more of, that generally I need to look at, am I actually operating in it myself, like honor? If I feel like that I've not been honored, well, usually it's a cue for me to start looking at, oh, am I really honoring others as I should be honoring them? And usually we'll find a correlation there. Gratitude, humility, a lot of things where I just realize, wow, okay, all right, I would like more of that in my life. Therefore, I need to produce it because Father's giving it more than enough to all of us. Just we're not always necessarily aware or receiving it as we could or should. But that's good. Thank you, Susan. It made me think of that. It's good. Anyone else? Well, go ahead, John, and then Martha, if you have anything to add, would love to hear. You haven't shared as much this time around, I don't think.
So yesterday I watched The Secret documentary. Does anybody know what The Secret is?
I've watched it, but I
Jesus gave us the secret. And that's exactly what they use as the secret is ask, believe, and
Yeah.
receive. It's powerful, really.
it's
Another
just getting
thing,
to that place where we actually believe it, I think, is the
yeah. And another thing they emphasize very much is gratitude.
yeah.
And they're talking a lot about the law of attraction.
Mhm.
If we have gratitude, we attract all kinds of things to us.
Yeah,
We basically, if we have gratitude, we attract everything that we need, I believe, is a key.
that is also true.
In everything, give thanks, Paul said.
Mhm.
In everything, not just the good things, but be thankful in the midst of tough times.
Yeah. And I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday about that very thing, just encouraged them to start looking for all the things they can be grateful for. And unfortunately, when we get our minds locked into how bad everything is, then that's probably what you're going to see is all the bad until we start shifting to look at the things we're grateful for. And yeah, John, you're right on. If
And
you're,
it seems like it's true what they say. Everything that is in your life is there because there's something about you and in you that attracted it to you.
yeah,
I think that's accurate. Like in the whole Ho'oponopono, the whole powerful thing of it is we take responsibility for everything.
yeah,
And it's because everything that happens to us, we somehow attract. Even how did I attract that car accident? I don't know. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
yeah.
So if I wouldn't have been there, it wouldn't have been happened. So, there's things that we think that we didn't attract, but there's something deeper.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
no,
think,
and
I think
I'm
that
proponent of
Hawaiian,
that for the most part.
that Hawaiian system of restoration has something to it that, everything, like I said to the Jehovah's Witnesses, that there's nothing out there. Everything is within. It's how I perceive you is probably different than a lot of people perceive you. I perceive them as kind, loving people, and we had a nice conversation. We didn't get into stuff where we violently agreed and said, you're wrong, and da da da, like I used to when I was talking to Jehovah's Witnesses. Go right to the basic thing. You don't believe that Jesus is God. That's your problem.
Well, let's enter back in unless anybody else has something they want to share. Martha, do you have anything? I'd asked you before.
I don't know if it's incredibly relevant, but I wanted to tell Susan how much I love the color of her top. I absolutely love that shade of green. And then John mentioned gratitude, and I mean, I can express incredible gratitude that you and Adina run Kingdom Equipping Center, Kingdom Talks. See, even there, you guys are confusing everybody, right? With having all those different platforms. And if you go to Kingdom Equipping, Kingdom Talks. And on Sunday, I was at Wilma Dirkson's son. He's a pastor of Maple Crest. They had a pool party, baptism, etc. So I didn't see live Joel Yunt, but his stuff about childlike wonder was absolutely amazing because I watched it then the next day. So, I mean, yeah, so again, just more gratitude to be connected to your platforms with all these different groups that are just somebody said the other day they want to invent a new word, and I forget who, since I'm in so many groups with so many people, between revolution and revelation. So revolutionary, revelationary, whatever, right? So yeah, you're revolutionary and revelationary.
That's good. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Let's enter back in and just see what else Father wants to show us. So I feel like we just kind of emptied out some, I'll just say stuck places where we just have shared some things. So Father, what do you have for us after we've kind of done all this? What would you like to show us? And I can say that I'm seeing stuff now, and I don't know, somebody else may have more to add to this, but I see a waterfall, but the water is golden in color. The flow of gold.
Hear the Father saying he's pleased with what took place in this group today.
Yeah. I feel like that gold represents purity in terms of what's happened in this group today.
I'm reminded of that story, that child's story, even as you're talking about everybody sharing different things, that stone soup, where this guy was hungry and he put on a pot of water and he put in a pot, and he was a traveler and a stranger and his whatever. And so he put a pot on and he put a rock in the pot. And then somehow people in the community go, well, what else do you need to go in that pot? Kind of a thing. And out of the stone turned this beautiful stew that was delicious and nourishing and fulfilling. And I just feel like that's part of what even took place today, even as we, like you said, shared stuck places. It is this place of becoming something that's fragrant and delicious.
That's so good. Wow. That last part of what Kamal shared in verse 10 just keeps rising up. When perfection comes, the imperfect disappears. I mean, that's even with translation, transfiguration, applies to so many different areas. And that everything other than love is, I want to use the word subordinate. It's smaller. It's just not the top. The top is love. and being perfected in love.
Love conquers all. That's why love conquers all, because everything is immaterial when love rules. Love is perfection.
Mhm. So that liquid gold also represents the Father's love just being poured out into the earth freely and without reserve. And it's available to everybody. And it's a matter of, as John, you were saying, we need to pay attention to things and be grateful and receive all the beauty and wonder and blessings that he has for us. They're all right there. Mm.
Gratitude is powerful because when you show gratitude, you're actually showing love
Yeah.
and honor when it's towards other people and towards the earth and plants and everything.
In the context of 1 Corinthians 13 is right after Paul is describing how the body functions, the beauty of the gifts, and how we're all important. And then he leads it with, but I will show you a better way, talking about all those things which are so important and invaluable. So it doesn't mean that those things don't have value. It just means the more excellent way, the more important aspect is everything, not position, not gifting, not location, not resources. Those things are subordinate to everything flowing from love.
Hmm. I don't fully understand this comment, but I feel like it keeps coming at me from Father. So I'm going to go ahead and just share it. But that when we are perfected in love, we then have need of nothing because we are fulfilled.
I'm reminded of the story of the old man sitting in the soup line. And just before they got to him, they ran out. And he said, I never realized how much I needed Jesus until Jesus was all I had.
Hmm.
And Jesus is love. He knew love.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
In that case, love was more powerful than a bowl of soup, food. Satisfied his hunger. I wonder if that's what Jesus meant when he said to the disciples, when he said, I have food that you know not of. He had the love of the Father.
Nothing. Need of nothing. My thoughts just go off in 100 different directions. Need of nothing, and that Jesus, when you said that, John, that love puts us in a place where we have need of nothing. And it's been said that perhaps when we are in the heavenlies, that what we will feed on, if we need to feed at all, will be the white creative light of love, because it is ongoing, never ending. Love produces more love, and it never ends. And that's what we would feed on, is the white, creative white light of love.
The Lord is my shepherd, who is love. I shall not want.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I shall not be in want of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a blessing.
For whatever reason, I just am feeling extremely encouraged that we are on our way to the perfection of love. That this kind of sharing and talking is going to get us deeper and further than any lessons we could ever do, than any teachings we could ever teach or be taught. But that in relationship, that we just go deep and begin to share, hopefully that you would not have to feel like you have to hide something. That if you had anything that you were afraid to share because you think people would reject you because of it, I would hope that we could get past all that. Perfected in love, nothing to fear. You'd fear nothing because you'd have nothing left. Total transparency. That's a tough place. And I'm not saying we have to go there. So I don't want any of you to be scared off. That would be an interesting thought and question, just for you to take it to the Father. So what are the things about myself that I think if others knew, they might reject me? And deal with that with Father. Let him work with you in that area. Yeah. Because I got a feeling we can go a whole lot deeper, but it's just going to take more time and more trust. We're going to have to learn to trust one another even further. I
have faith and belief that there's not one person in this group that would ever reject anything that we ever said.
Yeah.
They would never reject me. Even if I said something that was way off the beaten path, they would still love me and accept me. That's the kind of love I feel in this group. And I thank God that I am part of this fellowship. It feeds my confidence. It feeds my trust in God. So I hope everybody feels that way about each one of us, because that's the way God created us from the beginning. We're going back to We're being restored to our original image and likeness of God. I really believe that. And it's powerful and beautiful, and it'll affect every person we contact.
Yeah. Good, Marilee.
Like that lady that came to me and gave me a hug and in the clothes store. It's just a taste of what is to come as we walk the earth.
Yeah.
In our totally restored space.
Amen. Marilee, go ahead.
Hallelujah.
And you're muted still.
I was just thinking as we were having this discussion that he knows the end from the beginning. And we're in this journey to get to that place.
Mhm.
And the end is the place of total love. I sometimes, because of my sons and because of the predicaments they find themselves in, I can go into such pain and agony for my children. But Father knows the end from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I trust, and when I enter into rest, then I'm in the place of perfect love. He loves I love my children so much, but he loves them more because his love is complete.
Yeah.
My love is not complete yet. And so for ourselves as well, we're in this journey. It is done, and yet we are walking it out at the same time. So the days where I feel this, that, or the next is simply in my human, earthly, unredeemed emotions. It's not the truth. The truth is that I'm completely loved, that I am complete in him, and that Christ in me is that hope of glory.
Amen. Amen.
Just some thoughts that I have regarding this Zoom meeting. I think I like to share. It feels that we shifted. The frequency of this whole conversation today is different. And it's just interesting that we had, some of us, difficulty or challenges, or however you want to call them, getting to the Zoom meeting, for different reasons. And it's interesting that we're so all over the world, different places in the world. And I can definitely speak for myself. I was just like, oh gosh, I don't think I can sit there for 2 hours. I need to go to bed. But the conversation just went in a different way, especially if we think of last week's conversation. So it took a different road, and just some thoughts in asking Father. It's just interesting, it seems like we're more calmed down, at least for me. We're more relaxed, I think is the better word. And it's just, I think it's all good. I think it's all good as we continue to know each other. And the word for me last week was have patience. And just, this love thing is interesting, and it's definitely Father is testing our hearts, how much are we going to pursue, continue, present, as you put it, Gil. So it's a beautiful thing, It might not be easy at times, but here we are. We chose to be here. And we're just gonna trust the Father to grow us in love, and for me, in patience. And it's a great journey. And I love everyone and each one of you. I need to say love, because I added love in my vocabulary, which I didn't used to. I used to criticize people when I said, I love pizza, I love this. And you use love so, abundantly in everything. It's like when we really love somebody, or we actually have love for someone, can you even differentiate from loving pizza and loving whatever it is? It's like, I don't know. So I stop myself I hold back myself from saying love this, love that. But I'm learning now to say I love people, which is a huge step for me. Because I do it not because because of this, because now I feel that when I say love, I mean it. I like pizza, but I love Merly, Kamal, Diane, Susan, John. Martha's not there, but she knows I love her. Love you, Martha. Of course, Gil. And I love me. How about that? Love me.
I love that. I love that. I'm curious, just by a show of hands, and I don't see Martha. Martha, where are you? You know what? I'm gonna wait till she's back. So
I have this pull to encourage us to intentionally release this love to Sheila and her family.
yeah.
So Father, we just release the frequency of this love that we're sensing and feeling to Sheila and her father Kelly and her mother and siblings. I pray that you would wrap your arms around them, that they would sense that you are taking care of them and that their needs will be met, and they will come to a place that they will thrive and not struggle. In Jesus' precious name, we release this love with everything that is within us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talked with her yesterday. She said she wouldn't be able to be here today because she's with her family or on her way to her family, I think it was. Thank you, John. It's good.
Another thought that I just had is that we're allowing Father to open up our heart.
Yeah.
For me, this is really a reality I'm experiencing in this meeting. I mean, in this Zoom meeting, but it just in general, just in my walk in general in the last couple of years, But we're so focused in love here that I feel like that's what God is doing in all of us, because we're united. He's opening up our hearts even more. You might say, well, you know, my heart is open to love. I love this and that. I love, so the person or whatever, you know, whatever you think in mind you love, I think it's just opening our heart in a greater way, in a bigger way to love. Period.
Good.
That's what's happening for me.
Really, really appreciate that. So let me just ask you guys, and hopefully you can be honest. Can you say I love myself? Are you able to say that with some good confidence? Can you say I do love myself? Just I see some heads, but maybe show a hand. I see Martha getting ready to say something.
Yeah, for me, it totally varies day by day. Like everything else in my life that's a roller coaster, when I'm full of, you know, as the part of me I like, the zoom, the zim, the sparkle, the, you know, the me at my best. I love that me, right? And then there's the me that can get so low that I don't even want to describe it. And that one, I don't like that one at all.
Well, that's and I would just say, have mercy even on that you. Have mercy and love even that one. Doesn't mean you have to love everything going on, but to be able to love yourself even in that place, because you know what? God does, and so do we. So
That's a part, Martha. It's not you.
yeah. And Kamal, I'm assuming your hand went up as affirmative on that, so I'll take that. And I didn't see John. Did you thumbs up on that?
I haven't said anything. I wanted to say that since I have been praying, saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, over and over to my subconscious, my unconscious mind, where things cause me to do things that I don't know why I do them. I can honestly say that my love for myself has grown exponentially. I think I've always loved myself, but not the way I can love myself now, because of experiencing unconditional love from all of you and from the Father and from Jesus and Holy Spirit and people around me.
Love that.
It's life-changing. It really is.
That's very, very special and precious, and I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you, John. Diane? A little more cumbersome on the phone, I understand.
But be careful.
Well,
she's
I'm
driving
coming
that
in.
lady.
I'm coming into Albuquerque too, so it's a little congested.
Yeah.
Lots of traffic, lots of trucks. I'm a work in process. There's parts, I'm like Martha, there's parts of me I think I love. There's parts of me I'm learning to love. And I listened to this, actually it was on our other platform. Somebody posted this lady's near-death experience testimony, and without going into the whole story, what was so cool about it is the Lord let her see herself as a little girl, but she didn't know it was her as a little girl. And she had this unbelievable, overwhelming love for that little girl, and she was captivated by her and all of this stuff. And the Lord then later revealed to her, and this was a woman at that point who didn't even think she she didn't believe in God, and parts of her did. It's this amazing story. But when the Lord showed her, told her that was her, and then he said, I've always seen you like that.
Mhm.
Mm.
That to me has been the watermark. That is the invitation that he's taken us, or me personally, into. And I keep thinking about the transformations group this week was about the tree of life, and Lindy Strong does such a beautiful job talking about letting go of control. And then the second aspect, the second part of that was letting go of the need to know things, which is really in tandem with everything we've talked about today. You know, that we don't have to have credentials or the world system to approve of us, that we can just be and know that whatever it is we need in the moment that we need it, our Father's going to supply. And boy, is that a journey that I guess it feels connected to both. So learning to love myself is that place of complete abandon to the Father and letting go of control, and then not relying on the system. And even in this conversation, I was thinking maybe, a new definition of love with others is to understand that there, it's like in the natural, when you start to walk, you're going to fall and get bumps and bruises. You don't go through this journey without having some pain along the journey. And as we grow as a group, there will be moments and times. I'm just talking out loud and processing that. It's not the syrupy thing that's not authentic, where we will, rub each other sometimes, and that's part of the beauty and the opportunity to be raw and real. And I loved Liz's bringing up last week. Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Let's all of those conversations are a part of being able to love honor and respect toward one another, and in the safety net of knowing our love is unconditional. And anyway, it's all connected.
So good,
So-
Diane. Thank you. So Susan, where are you at with being able to love yourself?
I think, like some of the others said, I think overall, I think I do. I think I know there was a time where I really felt like I hit rock bottom and had a lot of burnout and things, and I was kind of amazed how I got through it with the Lord. And when it was kind of just me and the Lord, really, and was able to press through that season. But then there's different parts, I think, different traits that I get frustrated about, that I can be quite harsh on myself about. So a real mix, really, I think. But I think overall that it's more on the healthy side than not.
Good,
Yeah.
good. So I would then ask each of you again, just so I'm hearing from most that that you are, I guess what I'm hearing is everyone's doing better than they used to. Is that correct? I don't see Martha's head moving a lot. I'm guessing, Martha, you're maybe not in agreement with that statement. That's okay.
I honestly don't know, Gil, because with me, the roller coaster ride is like at the bottom, it's so low, I don't even want to describe it. And, I've been in that bottom place even this week. So, yeah, because
Well, I think it's time for you and I to have another discussion offline.
yeah, with me, it depends so incredibly much on where I'm at when you're talking to me, because,
Yeah.
you know, it's not consistent. Maybe that's a good way of putting it.
Well, and I think the other thing I'm going to guess, but I think I'm thinking it's a good guess that when you're around people, for the most part, it helps you get out of that slump. Am I correct in that?
Well, that's what I'd like to think, but Sunday, when I was at that pool party at Cyrus's all day, engaging with absolutely amazing people, I was still down the whole time. And I thought, how is this possible, right?
Well,
And Wilma Dirksen, bless her heart, you know, after a full day of being with people, she phones to check up on me. Like, I'm just blown away. So I know prayer makes a big difference. I'm sure she prayed for me. So then Monday, I'm like having a fabulous day. Like, I mean, just out of the ballpark fabulous. And then in the evening, I start having this pain, and Adina in class yesterday, she concurred with me. I felt like a backlash for some of the stuff I'm stepping out on with people. She even saw an angel remove something out of the back of my head. But then Tuesday, right, then there's this fear because you have this pain that's at the bottom of your head and you imagine all these things that it could mean. And then this morning I slept in when these people were coming, they're community people, like they do this for free, help people with their yard work. But I was sound asleep when because I take way too much stuff to help me sleep. And so, yeah, when you asked, are you guys willing to open up about yourself and tell stuff about yourself? Yep, totally willing.
okay.
I'm just totally willing to have another courtroom session, Gil, because that last one, 12 out of 14 days were amazing. So yes, whenever you want to set it up, I'm all for it.
And that's open to anybody. So if any of you want to just have some time with me one-on-one, we can go through some things. And you guys, and this is beautiful because you guys know I'm not perfect. But I used to be so much worse. I used to be so terrible in all of these areas. So I've come a long ways and I've learned some things along the way, and I'm willing to share those. But I love just being in an environment where I don't have to fake it, that I can just be who I am. And I got some rough edges that still need to be rubbed off too. So yeah, if any of you, just shoot me an email. I think all of you have my email. If you don't, just whatever way you have to contact me, do that. Well, I love each and every one of you, and I love you unconditionally, which I was going to say for myself. I've learned to love myself unconditionally. There are still things I do and things that happen that I'm not excited about, but I still love myself unconditionally. I choose to. It's not something that just happens. I have to choose to love myself unconditionally. I do it better sometimes than I do others, but I choose to love myself unconditionally because I know my Father does. Does not mean that I don't have work to do. So I do want to, one more thing of kind of business. Where do we want to start our new group? Do we want to start it on Telegram? And I can help anybody who's not on Telegram to get on Telegram, but we can start it there for communication offline. Or do you want me to start a new group on Kajabi? Now, I don't know if we can get our videos. I don't think we can get our videos on Telegram. That's the only problem. So these recorded videos that we have somebody who places them on our Kajabi website for us. Oh, we can do the link. The link can go on Telegram. So that is a possibility. So any strong feelings one way or the other for anybody?
Marilee saying, please.
You do Telegram?
Well, I haven't figured out how to use Telegram, so I vote Kajabi, but I don't know if this is a democracy where we take votes.
Well, yeah, kind of is. So we'll see what everyone thinks.
Yeah. I think it is
Whatever.
a democracy because he's asking us for our opinions. My
Yeah.
opinion is Kajabi, because I don't use Telegram and I don't want to download another app on my phone.
I feel that.
I don't want to use more memory on my phone, but Kajabi will be my preference.
Okay. Susan?
Yeah, I don't have a preference either way. I don't mind.
Okay. Diane? I
Not to be on my phone when I'm driving next time.
yes, I know. I was just thinking, yikes.
At least I'm out of the hub of New Mexico. I just got on my, anyway, I'm safer. Either one is fine. Whatever you guys
Okay.
decide, whatever the main need is, I'm good with either.
Okay. And Kamal?
It's okay. Even though most of people are not in Telegram, that's what I could prefer. But whichever you set on, that's what I'll use.
Okay. And then John, did you say? I don't remember.
I
Doesn't
don't
matter to
have-
you?
You have to help me to figure out how to use it.
Telegram?
Telegram, yeah.
Okay.
I've
So
never
we've got
heard of
three.
I never heard of it as a thing like this.
It's
I've
easy
just got
once you're
used
on it.
to Zoom is easiest for me, but
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
it's
John,
probably just as easy
John.
as long as the communication is right on Telegram. Like
John,
we
we're
did.
still gonna do Zoom. This isn't
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
Thursday Zoom.
I think you meant Kajabi.
Yeah, no, right,
Said
John?
Zoom.
We're still gonna do Zoom on Thursdays, John.
Oh, I thought you're gonna switch this to
Oh,
That,
Telegram.
No.
Oh,
yeah,
you mean the community is gonna switch to Telegram?
well, that's just what we were talking about, whether we switch the offline communication and put the videos and so forth on Telegram, or whether I make another group on Kajabi. But I think the consensus is to stick with Kajabi. I mean, I like Telegram, but we've got 3 people that aren't on Telegram that,
well, I
and-
downloaded it onto the desktop, but once I did that, I couldn't figure, because Michael Van Zanten posts all his stuff in Telegram, so I wanted to learn how to do it, so maybe it's.
it's actually a phone app. So you have to do it on your phone
do it on your
first. And
desktop?
it's one of those that you have to have it on your phone first. And then if you put it on your computer, you have to okay the computer by doing some things. I mean, I could walk you through any of that, but
Now I understand why I couldn't do it.
yeah.
Can it go on iPad?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, because everything seems to go on iPad that you
Yeah.
can do on the phone.
I
Like
will
the-
say
The
Telegram.
Apple products are.
Yeah.
One is the same basically, but iPad is better for Zoom because you can see everybody with,
Yeah.
you can't,
I
you
will
can only
say-
see yourself on when you use your iPhone.
Yeah. Once you get on Telegram, I think you would see how much easier it is. It is quite easy, but you do have to get on it. And Hadassah, I totally feel you. I'm like, I don't need another app on my phone. I don't want another app on my phone.
It deletes some that you don't use.
I actually had it. I mean, very easy. And yes, you have to go to the phone, Martha. You have to download it on the phone. It's like WhatsApp. You have to do it on your phone, and then you can transport it to your laptop.
Yeah.
But I mean, if anybody's okay with it, I'll do that. But I prefer not to. I don't want
I
to
know.
download. I don't want an app on my phone.
Well, the
Anyway.
other thing I'll say to you is that, we have a group on, it's Kingdom Talks Media that is on Telegram, and we've got about 60, 70 people on there. We have some good conversations on there at times. So if you got on there, you could get in that group too. And it's just,
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
So is it Telegram Messenger?
It's
I
just
think,
like,
I'm looking at the apps right now.
yeah, I
Telegram
think it is.
Messenger,
WhatsApp. Do you use WhatsApp? It's just like WhatsApp.
Telegram
Easy
tools.
one to use.
Those are the only two. One says Telegram Messenger and one says Telegram tools.
Let me look real quick and then,
Telegram says fast, powerful, secure.
yeah, I like Telegram better than,
Tools. Messenger better than
okay, here it is. It
tools?
looks like a paper airplane. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, but they both have a paper airplane. All those apps on
The
this-
blue one. Can you see my, look on the screen,
That
Vic.
says fast, powerful, secure.
Mine just says Telegram.
So it's Telegram Messenger.
I think that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Like,
Susan, are you good with Telegram? Oh. Down a little bit, John, down. Down,
Yeah,
that
I
looks
have
like
that.
it. That looks like it. Susan, you said you're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, John, I believe that's it. That looks like it. Get on there and hopefully when you come up, it'll notify me that you're on and then I can just invite you to the two groups. I'll invite you to the Kingdom Talks Media group and I'll have to make a group for this one. And I'll call it the Mysteries of Love group. Is that okay? Or you want something else? MOL, Mysteries of Love, MOL.
mystery love group. We're the love group.
Yeah.
Love song, like love song, you know?
Okay, so everyone
So-
good?
Those initials MOL made me think of mole, and you know how they say a mole's inside of a, it's a subterfuge thing, but we're gonna transmute that back to its original intent, which looks like, hey, we're gonna be the mole and bring love and disperse it throughout the globe. Woohoo!
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, please feel free to reach out to me, email me, let me know if you want to get together one-on-one. And Martha, send me something too, and we'll communicate through that, get that going. And then I think that's it. Oh, yeah. And if you have any questions on Telegram, let me know. And I'll try to get this group made pretty quick. I've got another meeting coming up here. So if I don't get it made right now, hopefully I'll get it done tonight. All right.
Gil, if you have John's number and the other people's numbers, you can actually, if you go to your Telegram, you can invite them.
But they
You
have to
have
be
to have-
on it first, right?
No, you have to have their phone numbers in your phone book.
Maybe you should make this group. I think you know more about it than I do.
If they will send me their numbers,
In the phone number?
your phone
Yeah.
number. Just
Phone number.
just put your phone number in the Kajabi chat, and I'll take it from there.
Well, then everybody has access to it.
Yeah,
Everybody
well,
who's
now
on
I'm just
Kajabi has access to it.
No, just in the Mystery of Love Kajabi group that Gil already started.
Yeah.
There's no group like that on Kajabi. I have never seen
Bye,
it.
you guys. Gotta go.
All right. Bye, Hadassah. We'll see you. Yeah, John, I just made one this morning.
Okay, that's why I
Yeah,
haven't
so it
seen
should
it.
be there. If there's any confusion, just reach out to me. And
Okay.
yeah, Marilee, if you're willing to make the group, that would be awesome.
I will do that.
Okay, I will. So don't forget to invite me. All right. Love you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Love you.